Hello, I'm Bauer, and we're Group 1, and we're here to talk about conformis, and specifically the iTotal knee implant. So you've got to understand that there's a problem, first of all. The problem is arthritis. As we age, our cartilage breaks down and eventually results in bone rubbing on bone, causing pain and causing us to decrease our lifestyle activities. Traditional treatment for this has been an off-the-shelf knee implant, which you can see them installing here in this video, making the cuts, and then you'll see them place the metal here in a moment. The problem with these off-the-shelf knee implants is that 1 in 5 people are not happy following surgery due to residual pain and sometimes lack of motion. You can see in the picture that the metal doesn't quite cover the area of the bone that they cut. That's one of the potential causes. Sometimes the metal actually overhangs. And that leads us to the iTotal. The iTotal is the only custom-made knee implant on the market that they use a CT scan for to match your anatomy. So there's no overhang of the bone or the metal. There's less drilling into the bone, and there is an unequal thickness here on the plastic liners, and therefore creating a more natural motion. Conformis, the company, was formed in 2004. In 2011, they released the iTotal knee implant. Their production facilities are in Massachusetts. The total market for knee implants worldwide is projected to be $16.2 billion by the year 2018. Within that global market, there are some major players that you can see here. This large J&J area is actually a little bit smaller, and the Zimmer market has actually increased with their purchase of Biomet last year. But our conformis is a very small part of this little 13% up here. So we considered expanding into Southeast Asia. The reasons for this selection was population density. Also, they have a up-and-coming middle class that is more concerned about their lifestyle as they age. So that is going to increase demand for knee implants in general, but specifically ones from the United States. And eventually this could result in production advantages. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to talk about the assessment criteria that we applied to Asia. We looked at a few factors, first being population, and how much of that population is considered the elderly, which would be over the age of 65. Next, we looked at the GDP, and how much of that would be spent on healthcare. We also considered the healthcare system in each country, and the market potential, and some cons. Let me tell you a little bit about Singapore. Singapore's population is 5.6 million, 8.7% of which is the elderly. Their GDP is $293 billion, which 4.9% of which is spent on healthcare. Their healthcare system is universal, but they also have a private sector as well. And while we're doing research on Singapore, we found that conformis actually already is in Singapore. So we found that they must have decided that they have very good market potential. Let me pass it off to Rick, and he'll tell you about Taiwan.
Hello, I'm Rick, and I'm going to discuss potential market entry to Taiwan. Taiwan has a population of 23.5 million, of which 13.7% are elderly. It has a gross domestic product of 1.1 trillion, of which 6.2% is spent on healthcare. It has a national healthcare system that was established in 1995. It covers all citizens. Since 1995, it's had a 70% approval rating by all citizens. As far as market potential, the medical device market is 2.5 billion, making it the 5th largest in Asia. There are some cons with Taiwan. There are long processes. Approval takes 6 months and registration takes 18 months to get medical devices into the country. Because of this, we've decided to eliminate Taiwan as an option. Now I'd like to introduce Norman to discuss South Korea.
Hi, I'm Norman, and I will be discussing our decision factors on South Korea. To begin with, their population consists of 50.9 million people. 13.53% of those folks are the elderly, above the age of 65. Their GDP is 113 billion, and 7.2% of that GDP consists of health expenditures on healthcare. Their healthcare system is a universal system that's been around since 1977. It encompasses most of the population of South Korea. And in terms of market potential, it has some pretty decent potential in that there isn't a lot of competition. There aren't a lot of device manufacturers already present in South Korea. However, one of the biggest drawbacks is that there are some issues with importing of goods from the U.S. into South Korea. They have a long verification process, and so the South Korean customs imposes quite a bit of obstacles for the importing of goods into South Korea. Next, we'll have Jiaqi talk about China.
Hi, my name is Jiaqi Zhan. So today I will talk about China. The population is one of the biggest advantage for China. There are 1.38 billion population and 9% of the elder. The GDP is 10,866 billion and 5.4 spent on the healthcare. The healthcare system for China is both universal and private, but the private is just a little bit. And the market potential for China is they got 34.68 billion revenue for the medical device market, and also their health is very important. But there are 7,800 medical manufacturers, so it's really heavy for the competition. Also, the Chinese elder think that they don't want to spend too much on the healthcare. So let's pass to Brian.
Hello again. So I'll apply those same criteria to Japan. Japan's population is 126.4 million. The percentage of elderly is 26.3% of that. Their GDP was 4,123.26 trillion, and 9.3% of that was spent on healthcare. Within Japan, they have both a universal and a private healthcare system. The government, of course, provides the universal insurance, and those that are wealthy enough can purchase their own private insurance outside of that. As far as the market potential goes, the market for knee implants in Japan is 29.2 billion, and it's heavily reliant upon imports, specifically from the United States. And there are no customs charges on imports of medical devices. So due to that, and the ease of applying and receiving permission to market and import the products, we've chosen to expand into Japan. We thank you.